G'day guys, this is Nick at Stridewise.com. You're in my bedroom. I just woke up from a whiskey tasting last night. I'm not feeling amazing, but I thought why not do an impromptu and extremely unplanned look at my current rotation of boots. Now, I have a YouTube channel about boots. I've had it for 5 years. That means I have infinity boots in addition to the piles of shoeboxes on this side of the room that I'm not going to show you. The very table this camera is on is in fact hollow and full of boots. But these are the ones that are currently that I'm reaching for one reason or another. This is always changing. This is like a current snapshot of what it looks like right now, and I gotta be fairly quick because there are a lot of boots here. First up, this is the newest ones. They actually just came out of the box. This is Parkhurst. This is a brand. They were all upstate New York and are now they're made in Spain. And this is their rough out. It's an interesting kind of brown, slightly waxy rough out here because it's been shorn quite close. But yeah, they just moved their production to Spain not too long ago. And this is the first pair of Spanish boots. So I'm interested to see how the quality holds up. After that, I've got Truman Boot Company's unbelievably cool. This is the Grizzly Rough Out Mock Toe, 7 inches high, so it's not a giant one like Red Wing's 877, but it's a nice, very assertive height. I'm a huge fan of Truman Boot Company and their leathers. They're made in Oregon, this company, but one reason they sent out to me is that they just have always the coolest and most interesting leathers in the game. This is not their wildest leather, but still, the rough out here is like really fuzzy, like it's unusually fuzzy for a rough out. I'm a big fan of it, but I can only wear these with wide leg jeans. After that, I've got my Viberg service boots. These are made in Canada on Vancouver Island. They're $800 and they are the grail of many people who like boots, especially on the Reddit, Goodyear Welt subreddit. The Viberg service boot is sort of seen as like the peak boot. I used to have a brown pair. This is color 8 and I've been wearing them for like well over a year and a half. And because I want to really probably get a deep dive into them and do a proper re-review of the Viberg service boot to really kind of nail down on like the mystique of this very exalted brand in boots. Next up, I got another Pacific Northwest boot, if you want to call Viberg Pacific Northwest. This is Nick's Bootmakers. This is the 1964 rough out in brown, and this is the Americana boot, right? So this is a very sturdy, like very heavy. This is like, I think one of my heaviest boots, not my heaviest boot at the moment, compared to like my last one might be heavier, but I'm gonna show you. And yeah, this is the Americana. I used to have the Urban Logger, which is sort of meant to be pretty representative of the brand, as in like equal parts urban, equal parts like logger, like, you know, lumberjack, but the heel was too high and I didn't love them. I got the Americana, and this is a Nick's boot I actually really like, so just gotta break in. I just gotta show some wear in it, and I think of all my boots, the Nick's show wear the slowest, so it's the hardest to make them look used for a review. Next up, I got Grant Stone's Rust Kangaroo. The Edward is ever so slightly dressier than their diesel boot, which I've also got here. You see it doesn't have those big external counters. They dress it up just a little bit, but the leather is very informal. This is Kangaroo. And I got these, I've worn them quite a lot, including on the first date of a girl I'm seeing, so that they're a little bit memorable in that regard as well. But they told me they can't get this leather anymore, so this boot isn't gonna be sold anymore, so a video on it would be kind of pointless, so I don't really know what to do with them. I like them though, and they're a bit of a memento as well, but for the moment they're just here in limbo, and I break them out when I feel like it. After that, I have the most maligned Red Wing boot ever. Red Wing Heritage's Iron Ranger Traction Tread. This is an Iron Ranger boot, which is their unbelievably popular boot. There's one in the table this camera's on. And this is the Iron Ranger boot with a wedge sole and with the Aura Legacy leather upper that is only usually seen on the mock toes at Red Wing, the 875 and the 877. I love this look. It's very kind of modern and streetwear friendly for Red Wing. Everyone hated it because they swapped out the veg tin insole for a chrome tanned one that was a little bit thinner, and they added some foam in there. This was an attempt to reduce the famously tough break-in on Red Wing boots, which are well known for their break-in, and that's like the #1 complaint they get. So they said, let's make a model with a different construction that might make the break-in easier. Everyone lost their minds that Red Wing was, you know, selling out and whatever. They didn't change their other boots. They just came out with this one, but people really lost their minds. I think they look really cool. I really think they're cool. I've worn them quite a lot. Otherwise, these are some of the most worn on the rack. These are Thursday Boot Company's Hero boots. I got these Hero boots about a year ago, and I've been trying to wear them a ton to do an actual video on them because this is waxed flesh, and I haven't had waxed flesh from Thursday Boot Company before, so I really wanted to wear it a lot. I really have, I think, worn them more than almost anything else on this shelf because I'm trying to get that wax to wear away. It's worn away a bit, but I just gotta stop wearing them because I got other boots to review. I've literally been wearing them on off for over a year. They're cool though. This is like it's roomier than their more famous Captain boot, and most of their boots, honestly. This is like a more typical, wider fitting sort of boot than Thursday is known for producing. So it's got like, I think, broader appeal, maybe? I don't know, wait for the review. After that, this is Helm boots. Helm is an interesting outfit because they do Blake Rapid construction, so it's more lightweight than a Goodyear welted boot, but more water resistant than a Blake Stitch boot. I think it's kind of cool. So they're pretty lightweight boots. I like the white strip in the midsole as well. A lot of people hate it, but it's like very definitive of the brand. I've been wearing these for a bit, about to film the review this weekend actually. Helm, cool company. These are the diesel boots from Grant Stone. They're my main gray boots. I love them. This is from kudu leather. So this is a type of antelope in East Africa. So it's got some scarring on it from its life. But this is Grant Stone, so it's a very solid, smart, casual boot with a bit of texture, a good conversation piece. Of course, I talk about my boots all the time whenever I'm with anybody, and I like these a lot. Yeah, anyway, really good with like a nice blue pea coat, something like a little bit dressy, but not too dressy. Grant Stone, diesel boot, iconic boots. Very cool leather, and I do not know why there aren't more gray boots out there. I can't figure out, because I love gray boots. These are my most cherished boots, perhaps, possibly, because these are my pink Red Wing Heritage boots. When I went to the factory in Minnesota, I pointed out that I wish they made the leather for their women's boots for men sometimes. Like, they've got a bunch of extra leathers on the women's line they don't make for men, and I said I would love to get a pink pair of boots. I just kind of said it offhand, and then they surprised me with this pair of one-of-a-kind pink boots. They're friggin' great. I did a whole video on them, actually. You should watch, but long story short, wear them with grayscale outfits. They look friggin' amazing. Next up, I have Portland leather boots. This is the cheapest on the list. I should have said at the beginning, the boots on this whole list range from like $150 to $800. This is Portland Leather's Breaker boot. This is the cheapest because it is not resolable. They have this very interesting model where this is the next one. This is Thursday's Captain boot, the Thursday Boot Company's Captain boot. It is basically an identical boot. This one has more wear on it and it's got a different sole, but they sell one like this. They basically said, what if we went after Thursday Boot Company's market share by making a boot that's cheaper and can't be resold? What if people don't actually care if a boot can be resold or not, and then we could sell it for cheaper but look pretty much the same as Thursday, which is absolutely running the boot world at the moment. And I think they're eating some of Thursday's lunch at the moment. And the question is, should you prioritize a boot that gets resold, or should you prioritize saving money and versatility? Anyway, kind of an interesting project. That's Portland Leather Company. And like I said, this is Thursday's Captain boot, Arizona Adobe, which is their most popular leather. And I think their most popular boot is this in the black matte. Very emblematic of Thursday Boot Company, the brand, $199. I got another third pair of Thursdays. This is the Duke Chelsea boot. They're more casual Chelsea boot. It's got mud all over it from a trip to Sri Lanka I just took. Suede Chelsea's probably wasn't the best boot of choice for trudging around the jungle, but I never really wore the Thursday Dukes because the fit never worked for me, but they just updated the fits, and this new fit works a bit better for me, so I'm trying to get some wear because I do really like this leather. This is not a boot. This is a slipper boot. I just slip them on anytime I have to like go walk the dog or go onto the terrace or grab some groceries or something like that. Yeah, these are surprisingly useful, and when I go do laundry as well. Anyway, the errand boot, you know, besides other Chelsea boots, I've got Gray's wool slipper boot, huckberry.com. My go-to black boots, Alden Indies. Of course, Alden Indy, the boot that Indiana Jones wore in his films. This is the Black Chrome XL Indy. The Indy is an iconic boot. It's normally in brown. I think this is the best black boot. It's my favorite black boot anyway. I think it's really easy for black boots to look a bit too serious. And this is just a really good balance of like, you know, dressy and playful, and I like it a lot. Anyway, so the rare situations where I wear a black boot, I usually go to my Alden Indies. From Tecovas, we have the Luke Chelsea boot. If anyone liked Red Wing's classic Chelsea and didn't get one, this is pretty close. I don't think Red Wing's selling that Chelsea anymore, but this is a wedge-soled Chelsea in like a waxy kind of tan rough out leather here. For the Cowboy boot brand, it's a pretty modern kind of boot, but it's still quite pointy and fairly low profile, which is different to the Red Wing classic Chelsea, but you know, emblematic of the kind of Western heritage of Tecovas, the brand. So anyway, I'm enjoying these a bit. I got a really bad blister on them though the first time I wore them. Coming toward the end, Ariat, big boot brand. This is the Wexford. I believe this is Ariat's most popular boot, at least the one that's not a cowboy boot, but maybe even more than the cowboy boots. It's a little bit Western Chelsea, but very urban friendly, and it is waterproof. So very popular from a very popular brand, and it's waterproof. So I've been wearing these on and off for a couple of years. I gotta get around to reviewing them, but they're good boots. Anyway, I don't think you can resole them. I think this is like fake stitching here, but nonetheless, it's waterproof, it looks good, and it's inexpensive. So yeah, it's good, it's interesting. And the last one, unbelievably cool, maybe my coolest boots. This is from Sagara in Indonesia. I just went to Indonesia and hung out with a bunch of the guys there at the thriving boot industry in Bandung. And this is like this is a pretty coveted boot as well. This is the Cordmaster. Cordmaster from Sagara. It's a lace toe boot, and it really ticks a lot of the boxes that people get Indonesian boots for, right? Like it's like got a double leather midsole, it's got natural vegetan horse butt leather from Mariam in Italy, which was on like half the boots I saw down in Indonesia because Americans are crazy about this leather right now. And it's also a Norwegian welt, which is an insanely rare form of shoe construction, very laborious. It's like the way they made waterproof boots in like the 19th century before, you know, we had like Gore-Tex and that kind of stuff. So it's about as waterproof as you can make a boot. Extremely rare, extremely laborious, especially the way they do it in Indonesia. These boots are just super, super cool. And I'm reviewing them, I think, next week. And yeah, anyway, they're really good. All right, and that's the last one on the list. That's probably the most interesting. And yeah, those were boots from, yeah, like 150 to I think 800 bucks. I think that's the most expensive I've got in the rotation at the moment. There's always more coming in. This is just a snapshot. This is not the list of my favorite boots. This is just what's on the go at the moment. Thanks for watching. Let me know your favorites below and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one for more over the top, indulgent boot videos.